How's it going, guys? Figured today I'm gonna work on the gear shifter, and instead of doing the normal like linkage setup that a lot of people do, I think I'm gonna use a cable, push-pull cable. It's right here. It's off of an automatic transmission, and pretty much I just gotta get this one in right here on the engine, and this end right here. I'm debating on making my own shifter or kind of chopping this one down and using it. I mean, I could use this one right now as a mock-up. Pretty much, I put the linkages down there. This will shift. And one benefit about the cable setup is that I could comfortably put this anywhere I want. You know what I mean? So it can be, you know, I get it so it works, and then figure out where I want that to be. I know I want it thinner. So I was kind of thinking of maybe if I use this, trim this all down through here along this side right here. It kind of transfers to the other side. I will have to fix, see here, this shaft where it hinges goes all the way through. I'll have to come up with a new hinging point for the one side, but I don't really want to use it as complete because it is just wide, and pretty much, you know, I came up with, like, if I put it to where the shifter is just above this, you know, my legs and stuff will pass it, but and then I want to try to like dress it up with some kind of panels of some kind to make it look like a finished piece. Another thing good about it is like rocks and stuff, or I mean water to get down in it, but it does have this like little shield thing in it. If I seal it all up all the way around, you know, I'm not going to get gravel down in it. But so first thing is, I don't want the cables or any kind of levers going down below the bottom of the frame. And I don't know what you guys can see here, but I don't know. Here's the shifting shaft. It's pretty close to this. It's pretty close to that. And I also have the reverse shaft that's directly in front of it that I'll have to deal with later. But you know, so I kind of have to keep that guy in mind while I'm working, because you know I got to put you know, levers and things in for it as well. So all right, well, let's see, we can get started here. Alright, so well, to start off, I'll start off up here. I put the cable into the shifter, and I put it in a centrally located position, so that way whatever I do up here, it's in a central, you know, location, so that way no matter where I hook this to and where I hook the end to on the shifter, as long as the cable is straight and everything, then I should have plenty of throw right there. So the plan I have right now is cut this cross member out that I just put in for the seat right there. Put in another piece going from the back of the frame, which you can't see, going across right along here and fasten right here, and then I'll be able to weld this directly to the side of it, and then I can hook the end to the shifter, and everything will be a way to explain it. It'll pretty much be directly in line with the center of the frame, you know, up in there. So it won't be below grade, but it'll be running directly within the you know, the center of this bar. So I could potentially put like a skid plate right in that section, so nothing can get up into the shifter stuff. But it's just a good bit of work. So kind of thinking about rolling this thing over on its side and doing this stuff because it'd be so much easier to cut it and everything. I don't know. I think that'll definitely work that way. I'm not going to make this so it bolts up. I'm just going to make it so it's welded fast. Pretty much this bolted to an aluminum transmission, and you know, they had to make a part that bolted up. But if I ever need to replace this cable, I just look up the car that it came off of and it unhooks here and the other end. So alright, well, I'll get started on that. Alright, I got that little cross member cut out, and I gotta do the piece cut. It's gonna go lengthways through here now, and I notched it out so that it will be level in there underneath this piece. And seat dropped a little bit, but I should be able to figure out where it goes just by this piece, you know, this new piece being level or flush with that and flush with this. Just bring it up and weld it in. Alright guys, I got that cross member welded in there. And then pretty much this guy here can weld to the side of that. I don't know if you can see that gear shifter back there, but pretty much lines up pretty straight. It's not perfect, but this thing can compensate for a little bit, you know. It's kind of flimsy. But I'll get the figure out where I need it in there and all that, and I can weld that all up. I'm just gonna weld, I think, this shaft here to the shaft that's what I got on there. Pretty much what I got on there is, well, here's one. This is the reverse shifter for one of these, and I took this piece off of this piece, so this right here is the only thing on there. So I'm just going to sandwich and weld those two pieces together. Alright, we got it all welded in here, somewhat. It's in there good enough to play with, and I got it all connected back there. And I got this thing C-clamped down. Pretty much pulling back on it goes up through the gears, and pushing that back, you know, that way goes down through the gears. So anyway, let's see what we got. The only thing I don't like about it is it's not very good at returning itself. So I don't know, maybe it'll be better once the engine's running. And of course this thing's full of grit. I actually had to put the shifting shaft in the motor. Possibly maybe I could put springs, kind of the springs on each side of the shifter in the back to want to pull it to a central location, and then it'll return easier. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't seem to be very good at going back to the middle on its own. See, I don't know. I have to play around with it some more, but I think next thing I'm going to do is try to make this thing here look a little better so it looks like a finished piece. All I got to do is bolt it down to whatever I put it on. Alright, I got some stuff made up to replace that gear shifter I was using. And we got a new cable mount made. And how this will work is slides up on the cable like so, and then there's an Allen drilled and tapped this, and an Allen going through, and then a zip tie will go around the shifter on each side. I have to weld this nut so it just can't turn off, and pretty much the zip tie won't be able to slip off. And then zip tie will run through this groove right here, so they can't slip off of there either, so the cable won't be able to come off. But yet it's still replaceable if needed. This is a little grommet that the cable mounts into. I'll have to weld it to the side of this shaft. And then for a hinging joint, I used a nut and a bolt. Pretty much I'll just weld this to, you know, a piece coming down off the frame, and it makes it so it has a hinging joint, and also, you know, it holds it together because it's threaded, so it kind of makes it compact. Otherwise I would have had to make, just it was easier, I could have took a piece of bar, turned a shoulder onto it, made a flange, just, you know, that I would have had to machine. I would have slid over top, and also I would have had to make it so that it wouldn't slide off, so I would have had to mount something on this side of it. So this was pretty easy to make, and to lube it up I just gotta put some you know, penetrating oil on it once in a while or something. So we'll get started with putting this stuff on. Pretty much like this will go, you know, like that, weld it on there like that, and have to put like a piece of box tubing going down, mount this on. I made this a little long, but I can always cut some of it off that I don't need, and kind of borrow on that shifter top from that Saturn. Use it as a reference. I can always make one, you know, that using the same measurements as like the depth and the size and stuff. Make one out of aluminum or something. We'll get some of this stuff put on. Alright, figure I'd show you guys where I'm at with this. I'm kind of waiting on things to cool off so I'm not burning myself trying to put stuff together, but you know, I'm going to shorten this shaft up some, but this is what we got so far. I don't like it. And next up I gotta weld this thing on, but I had to, you know, clamp it on with a C-clamp, and I don't want to burn myself up on that, so I've been kind of sitting around looking at it, waiting on it to cool off. Alright, got the linkages all welded up, and here's what we got. It seems to return itself a lot easier now. So shorten this guy up a little bit, and probably make it look a lot better anyways. Right now, heck, he leaned on it, you break it off. Alright, I think this shifter here looks a lot better now. It returns nice. That'll work nice. One thing I thought, like, maybe I could, like, put some, like, aluminum plating or something like that, you know, build it around it and cut out the notch or something like that to kind of dress it up a little bit. Here's what it looks like looking down. I think that works nice. But well, I guess I'll call it a day with this video. It's probably approaching 15-20 minutes. So catch you guys on the next